So at the moment, we played only 2 weeks with our main lineup, and we were in 8-2. After that, Carl left. Then Creton broke his finger, and we were like playing all the time with standing. But this week, we're coming back with our main lineup. So everyone, brace yourself. Creton is coming back.
Welcome back, boys and girls. Earlier this week, alternate fans rejoiced at the news that Creton is back. But SK have plans to ruin the reunion. So, to see if they can pull it off, let's go over to Joe and Quickshot.
Thanks a lot, Shocks, and welcome back, everyone. It's time for our second game of the day.
Even though SK Gaming is in last place, they're only 3 wins away from being tied for wins with alternate for a second.
It makes no sense anymore. So let's have a look at the teams. That's something that does make sense here. First, on the blue side, we have SK Gaming with Kevin in the top lane, Hercubot in the jungle, Ocelot in the mid lane, Candy Panda the AD carry, and Nif the support.
And for alternate, of course, it is Kerp in the top lane, Aranea in the jungle, Pharrell Lord in the mid lane, Creton back on AD carry, and Jerry in support.
So alternate and SK have met already 2 times this season, and they each have a victory to show for it. Now, heading into this match, both of their confidence levels are high. Have a look at this.
SK is a really strong team. They are probably the best level 1 in the actual LCS Europe.
So I feel good to face alternate again. We are pretty confident to beat them.
I feel they are not really secure of each other and they don't know how to win the games.
We are confident that if it goes to late game, we're gonna win.
We adapted a bit our play style for the meta. We just try to play way more aggressive and just play way different than we did before. I think we will have some surprises for them, yeah.
So let's check out then what you guys at home have been thinking about the game so far.
61% of you think that alternate are going to be winning this matchup, and it's no real surprise. SK have been sitting at the bottom of the table for a while, and you actually even heard their alternate like, yeah, we think if it goes to late, we're fine. SK goes, well, if it goes to late, we're fine. We'll
yeah,
have to see.
We're going to have to see. That's it. And the big story of this match, of course, is the return of Creton. Now, he's still wearing a bit of a half bandage kind of cast thing going on. So, you know, the thing is, alternate have been a different team without him. And with Creton, they were 9 for 4. And without him, they've been 2 for 5. The bandages are coming off. It's all rocky.
This is brave. I mean, he's literally removing the bandages from this broken film and from his arm. And, you know, talking about that 9 and 4, that does include 2 losses that they took when Pharrell Lord was out for a week. It's a bit hard to stay serious while that's going on, guys. And Creton only recently, this very second, recovered from his broken hand. So we'll have to see whether or not these few seconds of unbandaged practice is going to be enough for the superstar AD to be back at his best. We've been talking about how good they were playing at the beginning of the split, and if alternate with their starting 5, you know, continue to play as well as they did, the rest of the league are going to be worried, especially if they can play as well as they were as far as that winning game formula was concerned at the beginning of the split.
Well, SK Gaming have already beaten alternate this season. The current standing is between these two. Is of course 1 for 1, as we said earlier. And the key thing maybe is that they weren't taking advantage of alternate's roster change. SK beat alternate when alternate were with their full lineup, the 5 that they are here today.
And even with that victory, at the beginning of the split, SK Gaming's management was very vocal about the team's poor performance during the opening weeks, and it was a very negative outlook on the team. And even though it should be pointed out that SK have been securing wins, climbing up the ladder, and looking better, they've held last position for 6 out of the 7 weeks leading up to this point. It is a little harsh to highlight those numbers when the difference between last and first is only 4 games, but with a limited number of matches remaining, time is running out for them to climb up the ladder.
So 4 victories from first and only 2 games out of the playoff position. We've got a super week coming up here, and a lot of things in that time can and, well, honestly, most probably will happen.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes getting to that point. Right now, we're about to jump into picks and bans, and between these 2 teams, there is so many overlapping champions. Thresh, Nami, Vayne, Ari, Twisted Fate, Orianna, just to rattle them off. And I definitely think between Candy Panda and Creton, it's the battle for Vayne, and it's been banned. that saddens me.
It's been banned out by Alternate here, so obviously not wanting to let SK pick that one up as first pick. Lissandra taken away. We've seen both Kerp and Forellenlord. Forellenlord, of course, mostly without Lissandra. Ari taken out against Forellenlord as well. Vayne and Elise on the other side here for Alternate, so I don't want Kevin to get his hand on that. Twisted Fate taken out as well. These are all headed towards Forellenlord. Are they going to first pick something like Orianna here?
I definitely think it could have been a possibility. We do tend to see SK leave that mid pick till last. They do tend to try and save it for as long as possible. And in terms of the bans, Shen taking out another one that Kevin and Kerp both play. Kerp to phenomenal effect. I'm interested in the AD carries, Creatine in particular, with the fact that he just unbandaged his arm. He may decide to go for something that he has been playing effectively, the likes of an Ezreal. Or if he wants to reduce some of the skill shot and mouse moving effects, he could actually go with like a Caitlyn. Still be very powerful, very effective in lane, and it may actually play into a bit of a more passive type of style in his hand, because I'm genuinely interested to see how it works out.
Only played with a trackball.
That would
that side of the hand that was broken wouldn't have had any effect whatsoever on him. But obviously not going to be the case here from this one. Kerp, the man with the trackball, though, has looking like they may lock in that Orianna that I talked about, or not. They may just go for Lee Sin, which is... wait a minute. Araneo, that's his name. He's only been here since the spring split. Just forget what I'm saying. It's all a load of balls. So, Orianna.
Talking about that, and the reason they swapped back, right? Whether we're going to lock in the Lee Sin, it was for Aranea. Aranea and Hercubot don't necessarily share the same champion pool. They do play slightly different junglers. Hercubot tends towards the Udyr, the Xin Zhao. Over for Aranea, he likes the Elise, the Lee Sin, the Hecarim. So I think the talking was like, if we lock in Lee, we run the risk of losing Orianna. Ocelot may want to pick that up. But by securing it, I don't think we'll see Hercubot locking in a Lee Sin to deny it from Aranea, knowing that his champion pool goes deep.
Knowing that it's banned as well would be another point to take into consideration for that one. It's all right. It's still jet lagged. It's a long flight home last week, so I'm going to go with that one. I'll make your excuses for you. So Jarvan the fourth here, and the Twitch locked in. Candy Panda played a lot of Twitch. Hercubot played a lot of Jarvan. No real surprises there.
No, none at all. And Twitch is a champion that we've actually seen picking up more since the changes to Draven. The fact that his passive no longer does the bleed damage. A lot of AD carries that like that lane pressure and that damage have been moving over to the Twitch. Didn't work out for Genja in the previous matchup, but with the Thresh as your dual lane support, if you get hooked, it's a lot scarier than the likes of a Glitterlance, for example, which you can just flash away and things like that.
So the Vi locked in here then for Alternate. We've obviously seen Aranea play that a couple of times in the last week, so no surprise really for me for that one. And J-Ree going in there for Nami, which actually is his most played support. He's not had the chance to get a Thresh, I think, as much as he'd have liked. 7 times he's played Nami up until this point in the game. So what are SK going to finish off with? Not taking too much time to decide on that one. They went with Rumble for Kevin in the top lane and Zed for Ocelot in the middle.
I like those pickups. From the spring split, Kevin's Rumble was terrifying. It was probably one of the strongest Rumbles in the European League. When comboed with somebody being locked up with Cataclysm, or even held in place by the box, for example, that's a lot of damage that can come down from the Equalizer. Ocelot as well. His Zed play is a little more hit and miss. It's not guaranteed win, it's not guaranteed lane matchup victory. And coming up against an Orianna, as long as Forellenlord keeps his HP relatively high, he shouldn't be an insta-give material. So that may just be a pretty farmy lane, but I like the pickups for SK.
So for Alternate here, we're talking about the top laner most likely for Kerp, possibly, maybe not here. So Karma being locked in then as the final pick of this one. Now, are we going to see that go in the top lane? Will that be in the jungle like we've seen Diamond running now?
I think that's going to be top lane. And the reason I say that, I don't think Karma fits Aranea's playstyle quite as much as Vi does. So I do expect these lanes to stick. It's another interesting pickup, and it's, once again, just going to play into the mobility factor. You've got Ezreal, Nami that's going to, Ezreal blink array, Nami lock people in place with Tidal Wave, and Karma's just going to be speeding out the whole team. Get that the mantra stack down, throw the E onto everybody, and you can kite. But the scary thing is if they all get locked in to a Cataclysm and an Equalizer, that's a scary amount of damage that can go down.
Yeah, you can only really run in circles there when you get locked down in that one. It doesn't matter how fast you're moving then, does it? So we're going to get into this game here in just a few seconds. And as we said, this one right now tied up 1-1 in the head-to-head. And we keep going back to this head-to-head thing because it is, at this stage, in such a tight league and such a tight scenario that we've got here in the summer split. So important because at the end of the day, it could actually mean the difference between, you know, that second and third where everything's all definite for you to the playoffs or not, or even at the bottom side of things. We just don't know right now.
There's one of the things that works in favor here of SK's lineup. Because they've got the Karma, the Vi, and even Orianna, that's a lot of shields that come in. Karma can shield a single target, or she can shield a team if they're within range. Vi gets her passive, blocks some damage whenever she lands, damage from her abilities. Orianna going to be shielding people up. And against a burst damage team of a Rumble and a Zed, that actually is going to play into their favor as long as they don't get completely caught out and completely popped instantly. Those shields will drag it out. And you can see RNA on your screen. His look of focus right now, very serious.
Yeah, it's definitely serious. Actually, paying us a visit in before this one, and we saw it in the video as well. And it's nothing new from RNA. The confidence that just emanates from him. To be honest, I mean, I think if they were like 0 for 20 right now, he'd still be coming in week after week feeling confident for the win. That's just the kind of person that he is. So we are going to get into them SK versus Alternate here, and let's talk a little bit about level 1 because this time around there are certainly some things that could change it up.
Okay, so you never want to invade against an army or against a Thresh because of the power of the Aqua Prison and the Death Sentence. I actually think we may have another slow start to these level 1s, and you can actually see both respective teams. Kerp is going to be in so much trouble.
Oh, puts down the flash away there. That hook was actually in the right direction for him. He's forced to flash away from that one, but you know, he's going to escape for now. SK have that positional advantage over by the Tribush at this point. The question is, though, are they going to stick around for this one? Alternate are coming up to the top side.
Alternate have got a bigger numbers advantage as well. Oslo's nowhere near if a fight were to break out. So if SK stick around, they could be in a little bit of trouble. The question is whether an Alternate can get a numbers. Can they get a read on SK? At the moment, SK realize they're at a disadvantage and they back up.
Well, they know there's a ward there in that top brush, so recalling from the Tribush would actually be a great move on their point because it keeps Alternate guessing on that front, but at the same time, they're not actually there. So it's going to slow Alternate down here, cause them to be a lot more cautious as Ocelot just having a dance with his shadows. I've seen him in a few clubs dancing with his shadows before as well. Bit of a lonely guy sometimes. Obviously, right, I'm kidding there. Right. If only that were true for all of us.
Alternate stood right on top of a ward. So SK fully aware of Alternate's position. They can even see this ward now where Alternate moving into. So SK have got a massive information advantage. Keep in mind, Kerp with Flash Teleport. He blew his Flash earlier, and that paints a big target on his back for Hercubot to go and gank the top lane as quickly as possible.
So there is a red buff start here then for Hercubot. We'll see what he does after that, and kind of expect him just to go straight over to blue, although they know that Aranea is on that blue side of things, and we can see that he is actually headed across there. Thresh moving in as well. Looks like they want to go for the steal.
We'll have to see how quickly they can do this one. The numbers advantage is in favor of SK, so if Aranea does try to contest this, he's going to be in trouble. Wisely, though, going to just trade blue buffs, which is something we see very often these days, as both junglers stick to the side of the map where they've got more assistance from their teammates.
Aranea is in there as well. Actually, Kevin is coming back here somewhat just to see if that is going down as well. And you'll actually be seeing these last couple of creeps going down as well. So he's going to have a definite timing on that one. And, well, the junglers get those blues. One thing that's happening at this point, though, is that Hercubot is sticking around to do the wolves, but Aranea has decided to do the same.
Yeah, so just trading jungle camps at this point in time, with both junglers having double buffs up. The question is, where do the ganks come in? Where do they try to focus their attention? And realizing that Kerp has no flash available, Hercubot's moving down to the 3v1 lane. A knock-up plus a death sentence on a target with no flash should be an easy kill.
Well, that was a good guess from Kevin, I suppose. Just throwing the harpoon through there, smashing straight into Aranea. So we got 3 men on both turrets now, and that's the move here from Alternate. They know that Curb can't go anywhere near his turret because of the lack of flash, so they're going to have to try and stick around and do as much damage to that turret as they possibly can. And we may see a turret going down for either side at the same time here.
On the condition that Creatine stays focusing on the tower, they could get that tower in the top lane. You can actually see Candy Panda has even backed away, denying the CS, denying the gold and the experience. And it's exactly the same on the top. Both of these teams realizing it. What SK realized, they've got a 4 versus 2 in the bottom lane, and they've started a 4-minute dragon.
4-minute dragon kicked off as Kevin throwing those harpoons through. There is the first turret going down to Alternate in the top lane, but this dragon going very, very low, as is Hercubot, to be honest, but they are going to be able to pick up that dragon, and that will give SK a nice little advantage here, and a great read in these, 3-man pushes, early pushes onto these turrets. SK, because they've got the duo lane in the bottom side, having that advantage over the dragon. The turret itself is still alive, but that's only a couple of shots.
110 HP on that tower. The question is, can Candy Panda and Niv get to it before J-Re and Creatine get in lane? Because if J-Re and Creatine are able to stall out that tower going down, they could actually retain some semblance of map control that can play into their favor.
Well, they are coming around here. Aranea are going to join in from the side as well, but in the end, well, what are you going to do? So, always the danger of Nif just knocking you straight back out of there.
Aranea went very quickly. He used his Vault Breaker to clear the wall and then walked straight back into lane. So his gap closer had already been blown. He could have flashed and applied an on-hit slow that J-Re was giving him, but instead just decides to back away. It was a little bit too quick on the trigger.
So duo lanes back into the bottom after just 5 minutes of this game. Really quick start to things. 3 men in the bottom as Nymph actually going to get bubbled up here. Does get the pull onto J-Re as Hercubot is coming in as well. Don't think we're going to see too much happening from this one, although Aranea is still hanging around. He's been spotted by that Tribush ward.
So there's a pink ward on top of Hercubot's feet for SK, so they know that there's no vision from Alternate in that area of the map, which is why they were playing so bravely in that lane. In addition, if you look at the top, you can see Kevin. The wave is so deep, he's frozen that lane up, which means Kerp needs to wait for that lane to reset. Play goes down, they're trying to jump on Creatine.
Not quite got it there. Ezreal, slippery as he is, able to arcane shift himself straight away from that one. And SK is saying, guys, we need this turret now. We did all that hard work early on, and there they do finally take it down. So there's a 1,500 gold lead that they've got from that early advantage.
The question is, how do they rotate around the map now? Are they still going to leave the dual lane in the bottom and give Kevin time to farm? Because he has 27 CS to the 4 of Kerp. Kerp is basically a support champion now, even though that's a solo lane Karma, because he's got so little gold to work with. He's even got in the utility spec, so we'll see how effective it is now as they go 2v1 against Kevin.
Yeah, and actually this could change things if they're able to pick up a kill from this one. They are going to go down. A lot of damage coming out onto Kevin now, down to half HP. He's going to flash, but Aranea will flash as well. Has he got the damage here with that dueling potential early on? And no, he hasn't. Kevin just going to scoot on out.
Karma has low on ability power, low on mana, couldn't continue chasing, but a good combination. You've seen how the utility of Karma really worked in their favor there. Got the on-hit slow from that Inner Flame Q with the Mantra charge, and it just held Rumble in place. The problem is Aranea wasn't able to close that one out. He needed more time to land those auto attacks.
So Candy Panda and Nif have stuck around here in that bottom lane. The Vamp Scepter double Doran's Blade start coming out off Candy Panda's Twitch already. Creatine working his way up towards that Blade of the Ruined King here with his Ezreal. And still, let's not forget that Creatine literally seconds before we started this game took off a cast. I can tell you that I once played badminton after I broke my arm in the day I had my cast off, and then I broke it again. So hopefully Creatine doesn't do the same here today.
I do believe badminton does require some semblance more physical interaction.
Well, it was my wrist as well, so not quite just my finger.
Well, we'll see how well he's doing. He's got a CS lead, and for the time being, there hasn't been too much aggression between the two duo lanes, but we do see them matching up. And with a Nami, if you get a good Mystic shot plus that Tidecaller's Blessing, on-hit slow, it's a lot of on-hit damage, and the slow is very, very powerful at this early stage in the game.
Oh, Hercubot just going to walk straight into Forellenlord here. And you see the damage already coming down. He's actually missed the push over there to the flag and was forced to flash in the end. And that means any chance of this blue steal should probably be out of there. Nif was hanging off to the side to see if he can get the final hits off there, but not going to be able to compete with the damage that Forellenlord can put out.
Hercubot got caught a little bit because he didn't anticipate where the rest of the members of Ultimate were. He tried to push in on the buff without seeing everybody in the lane. It ended up costing him his flash. If you see that now, Kevin is just bullying Kerp. He's got a 2-level advantage and double the CS.
Doing really, really well with that one. And that's the thing we always said in the spring split. Why is Kevin not playing Rumble? We said that so often. He was banned out a lot against him, but for my opinion, we didn't see enough and haven't seen enough of this Rumble because Kevin is an incredible, incredible Rumble player, and we'll see how he really goes forward in this game right now. SK, of course, having a lead. Ocelot visiting top.
So we'll see how quickly they can pick up a kill onto Kerp. He still does not have level 6 available, even though all of the abilities are there, and the shield that he's got is not going to be enough damage to block Deathmark plus Equalizer, which are both available. Luckily, RNA realizes the potential threat and is going to be in the area. He does have his Ground Slam ultimate available.
Well, Kevin just getting hit there. And Jerry actually coming up to the top as well, so they could find themselves with a disadvantage in terms of numbers. And Ocelot just starting off the guns there, realized that Jerry was on top of him. Ward comes down into the brush, and that's going to signal SK to at least back off for now, but they've got pretty much the entire team closing in.
And there's a great synergy here between Vi and Nami that's in lane. Once a Sultan actually gets thrown down, somebody gets locked in place and you can bubble them up. Double flash, double knockup!
Double knockup, and there's a Cataclysm. Actually, the Flay will knock Jerry back as well, and Kerp here in a lot of trouble. He's burning. Kevin actually gets it in the end with the Harpoon to finish off, and despite Alternate having complete vision of the SK team there, thanks to those wards, they still got caught out. Both players flashing away from the death sentence, but it was so well reacted to by SK.
Nif just man modes that one up. If the death sentence and hook, it would have only been 1 kill. But because there was a double flash instantaneously as that death sentence went down, the rest of SK just dove all in, landed the abilities that they needed to, and picked up the first 2 kills of the game. In conjunction with the Dragon and the Tower, they're in a very good position as the Dragon has respawned if they want to challenge for it.
And the kills went to really great champions as well in there. There were obviously 1 for Kevin, 1 for Ocelot. And Ocelot, you know, he'd started to build up a lead on Forellenlord in terms of CS. That's obviously fallen back because he'd spent so much time in that top lane, but the kill really counteracting that one as Alternate here, starting off the Dragon. Let's not forget the first Dragon went down early doors for SK Gaming with that 3-man pressure on bottom, but it looks like they may want to at least try and challenge for this one.
Spray and praise up for Candy Panda, they're going in!
They're going in for this one, but there is Ocelot moving down as well. RNA are taking a lot of damage. Ocelot's going to go down as well. Spray and pray not quite enough to get the kill at the backside either, but there's a great knockup. Another great Cataclysm. Can they get these kills back here? Kerp going low. Hercubot super low. The Ignite ticking. Forellenlord gets that one. There's the speed boost we talked about coming onto Forellen, and now Kevin in trouble. He will fall to Creatine, and just like that, Alternate turning right back around.
Dragon secured +4 kills. They simply didn't have their ultimates available. Deathmark was not up. Equalizer was not up. Candy's caught.
He's caught from this one. Tidal Wave goes in as well. Candy tries to get out of there, invisible, but not going to work out for him. Alternate pick up the another kill from that one, and they're going to take down the outer turret as well as that Dragon, plus the kills from earlier. That gives them the gold lead and a 3-man kill lead.
A complete swing and change of events. SK Gaming did not have the abilities required to challenge for that fight. And even though Candy Panda lined up at least 3 of them with that spray and pray, he doesn't have the damage for it to really affect or kill anybody instantly. So Alternate now in a very, very good position. A Tower, a Dragon, all those kills, and on the right people as well. Aranea, as well as Forellenlord and Creatine.
Fantastic play there out of Alternate. And as you said, those kills landing in the perfect places after 12.5 minutes from this one. We did see that Forellenlord picked up that Seeker's arm guard a little bit earlier on with the Chalice, Double Doran's Ring, and the Sorcerer Shoes. On the other side, No, it's just giving Creaton that extra bit of a boost that he needs to get himself really going on this one. And we'll see what SK's plan is from this, because they obviously felt confident enough to have the duo lane there trying to interrupt that dragon, and then the rest of them to actually follow in for it. But that didn't work out for them, and for me that might signal SK to, you know, calm down a little bit when it comes to actually challenging for things.
Yeah, I agree, especially considering how good the start of the game was. They may have just gotten a little bit carried away with their excitement and overestimated how powerful they were. Hercubot's going to get caught out a little bit. Arena chases forwards, got Assault and Battery, decides not to lock them down, and Candy Pan is in trouble.
Yeah, he is there. We saw him going through with the Lantern just to get back into a safe position there, because Lord had used that shockwave in, was doing a lot of damage now. That without really any big damage items for him as well.
So there's one thing I want to point out right now. With all the kills and gold that Creaton's picked up, somebody maybe needs to tell him that we are playing on patch 3.9, and the Spirit of the Elder Lizard has taken significant hits to its damage and overall damage over time, things like that. People have actually been trending away from it as far as that blue Ezreal build is concerned. But Creaton's showing he still wants to pick that one up. If he does go into a Blade of the Rune King, then a Last Whisper, this is the same build he was building before he broke his finger.
And before things were changed around, which
Correct.
is maybe even the more key point. But I'm not to argue with a man who's got the second most kills in the league after being out of things for, 3 weeks as well. It's incredible.
If he picks up 20 kills in this game, he'll overtake Xpeki. Just saying. Right now, you can see Hercubot and Kevin. Cataclysm and Equalizer available. Kerp has his flash, though, so if he gets out quickly enough, he may be able to survive.
Well, still waiting for this one. Bit of a death squad setup in the brush here for SK Gaming there. Being pinged onto though, so Alternate have an idea that they're around there. Arena's like, well, I'm going to get this red buff first and try and get that for us before we even get challenged from this. Hercubot is just doing those golems on the top side. Arena smites away and will be able to pick off his red. So they'll be able to react to any play that SK can put there. In the end, though, they decide not to.
SK are going to be looking to do these little skirmish battles because of all of the amounts of AoE that Alternate have on the side of the table. Vi's AoE damage, Karma's AoE damage, Orianna's heavy AoE damage, and even Ezreal with his ultimate is going to be dealing a lot of AoE. So if they group up when they're behind, it's a very difficult team fight for them to win if they don't insta-give their enemies.
So let's have a look down the CS at this point. Creaton 132 to 118 up. Ocelot has started to fall even further behind in that one. As I said, he was ahead until that roam, which gave him the 2 kills in the top lane came in, but Lord has kept that trend up here. He's continued to make sure that he stays ahead on that front. There's still a 20 CS difference though between difference. I'll get it out at some point between Kevin and Kerp in that top lane.
What we have seen from Alternate is less map movement than SK. They've been swapping lanes, trying to invade the jungles, trying to, put themselves in positions where they can set up kills. And Alternate are pretty happy to just sit and get towards that lane game position. It's actually what they said in the matchup. Hercubot once again trying to jump in, and then they go Creaton.
Going into Creaton, but Arena's position giving him a bit of a shock there, but now he's trapped up inside Cataclysm. Can he get away from this one? In fact, it's Hercubot that flashes completely out. Kerp uses teleport to come down bottom. They might be able to have enough pressure here for a turret.
So Ocelot went a tiny bit early on to Creaton, needed a little bit more CC before the damage was down. Kevin does have Equalizer available if he wants to try and fight. Decides to just let that tower drop. They don't want to repeat to the dragon.
And it was just the presence of Arena who kind of walked out the bush, then went back in, and also it's like, nope, not going any further for that one. Hercubot, I don't think, quite got the memo as he Cataclysm right in on top of them. And from his point of view, I mean, they got Creaton to half HP just with that little combo. They possibly could have finished him off there, but again, it's all about weighing up what you get and what happens to you from that. They may have both gone down in the long term.
Don't forget that Jovin's also got that percentage of, current health damage on top, so it is a little bit bursty sometimes if you can hit people, but unfortunately Creaton wasn't really healthy enough for that to be big enough to drop him down. What we do see now, with the tower going down and with the fact that Alternate have just bought their items, they're actually in a stronger position to challenge for the dragon that's just spawned. And you can see Kerp is actually putting all the vision around as well. So that's probably going to be the next big fight. You can see everyone's positioning for it.
All 10 men coming down towards this bottom area. Creaton just keeps up that poke damage as much as he possibly can. Alternate decide, you know, let's force out this
Shockwave.
mid lane. Kevin gonna get shockwaved in this one. Push going through. Alternate not quite got the damage, but here comes True Shot Barrage, and it lands onto him. Rumble goes down as RNA now chasing it on towards Nip. Flays him back, but Alternate have won the Dragon position.
That is very important. You never want to fight Dragon against an equalizer. It is one of the most powerful, disruptive abilities in the game in that narrow corridor. So Forellenlord, realizing that, instantly drops the Shockwave down onto Rumble, and Kevin wasn't expecting it. Who's going to use Shockwave for a single target? So Kevin gets caught out, gets dropped, and another Dragon goes the way of Ultimate.
Yeah, and Kriton actually stepped back to use True Shot Barrage there as well, so it would come now from out of the fog of war almost and not see, he wouldn't see him casting now, and wasn't quite able to dodge it, which now it's not the hardest, but also probably say not the easiest one to be dodging as well with the width of it. But still, it's a kill for Kriton, who's now up to 3-0-3, continuing as he left off before he broke that hand. Here's Aranea, he's charging himself up, gonna go in on towards Hercubot, who actually goes over towards Forellenlord. Cataclysm comes down. There's the Zonya's being used. Hercubot locked up. The kill comes down for Aranea. It might not be done just yet. Equalizer is down. Forellenlord gets himself another one as Candy Panda has to use his barrier, but look how low Alternate are. Ocelot chasing in. Can he get the finisher? Candy Panda going low at the back, but there's the shutdown. Kerp going to be in trouble. Double kill for Ocelot as Kerp speeds himself up out of there. Aranea is actually trying to go back here on the turret as Kevin comes in, so SK managing to turn that one around a little bit.
They trade 2 for 2 in the jungle, but after losing everything leading up to that, it's still an advantageous position for Alternate. That all started because Aranea was stealing the red buff away, which he did steal and did get away with his life. So overall, not bad for SK to get some gold back, and they're going to need to do more of that if they want to close this 3,000 to 4,000 gold gap.
So, almost at the 20-minute mark of this one, and we heard from Alternate that their opinions of SK are somewhat that when it gets towards that later game, they very much struggle to finish things off. And I think it'd be fair to say that's been our experience as well a lot of the times throughout this summer split. And I even played them a little bit in the spring split as well. So we'll see how that one comes in. Obviously, they're behind by a little bit on this one. So Alternate, they're not usually a team that seem to have problems closing out games, and especially when you've got your AD carry up at 3-0-3, even your jungle at 2-0-3, and Orianna already got that Zonya's Hourglass in there as well.
It's a very important item to have because it immediately means that Ocelot can no longer target Forellenlord. He's just immediately going to drop that Zonya's Hourglass, avoid all the damage from the death mark, and not really be in instantly killable position. Kerp that we just caught a glance of, he's actually pulled himself back into this game. He's still a long ways away as far as items are concerned, but he's maintained that 20 or 30 CS difference, and he's being impactful in the fight. In the jungle, he was able to slow down Candy Pan and prevent him landing auto attacks, and they've caught Kevin.
Oh, Kevin actually going in for that one. Equalizer puts down Kriton, gonna get shielded up here, and needs to get off the Equalizer, to be honest. So in the burning damage coming in, he loses half of his health, but he picks up another kill for the pleasure. Up now to 4-0-3. Bad news, if that keeps happening here, Kriton's only gonna be doing more.
That is a lot of damage that went down onto him, and he had command protect on his shoulders, and he was life stealing through that ult. So if you had a little bit of CC, a single knockup, or even a slow from the box, oh, they've jumped on Forellenlord.
He's gonna use the Zonyas in this scenario. Nif gonna knock him back. The Shockwave was pretty much out in the middle of nowhere there. We saw that the flash was used by Candy Panda to get away from it as well, just to make sure he didn't get caught in that. Ocelot actually stood on top of a ward there as well, so they know he's around. We can see that Kerp going towards that Zonya as well, so that only gives Ocelot 3 out of 5 choices to really make as things go on.
And it's going to be even more difficult to kill the likes of an Ezreal, who's just going to arcane shift away from your Ghost. So Ocelot needs to keep his trigger finger under control, wait for the arcane shift, and then use the shadow behind the target that you've marked. And we'll see how well he can make that one work for him, because that Zonya's Hourglass for Kerp will be finished very shortly, and he's picked up in CS. He's 5 away from Kevin. So great play from him considering how slow and how difficult his early game was.
Aranea is all doing a fantastic job right now of being involved. 2-0-4. 4 out of the 9 kills. And he's assisting, obviously picking up a couple of his health. He's done a really good job of being around the map and crucially, of course, in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and talking about right place and right time, Dragon's going to be up in about a minute to a minute and a half. And Alternate will have the time on that and they'll probably start setting up some wards and trying to control the split push of Ocelot. You can see Creatine is clearing out the wave. With the exception of Kerp, who has his teleport, the rest of Alternate are trending towards this bottom half of the map. So I expect them to start warding and positioning for a fight.
That is the Oracle coming out from Jerry. Again, just to let you know, if you didn't realize already, we are on patch 3.9 here, so the Oracle changes. Obviously, the 4 minutes instead of 5 minute duration, the slightly lower view range that it has, but the persistence through death is in the game at this point.
Yeah, we'll have to see how well Jerry can control the vision. There's still another ward for SK Gaming in that river bush. Alternate stacked up, 4 members in the mid lane. I believe Kerp is getting close as well, so it's actually 5. There comes Hercubot, thinking about Cataclysm, decides against it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been wise to actually even try and get them all inside of that one, because I just think that the damage coming out right now from Alternate can easily match and beat that of SK's. So fighting, I don't think is really in SK's interest right now, but they have to hold off.
So we do see that Ocelot has just joined, and if they can combine Equalizer plus Deathmark, it may be enough. It looks like that's what they want to do, as Hercubot and Ocelot are sniffing. They so badly want to go. Equalizer's blown.
Equalizer going to be blown as they going on towards him. There is a shockwave coming out. True Shot Barrage comes in the back of it as well. They're so very low. Kevin goes down to Forellen Lord, and they're not done just yet. They're attacking the towers. Forellen Lord actually getting really close to taking too much damage there, but look at that. They basically wedge themselves in with a nicely placed shockwave and are able to take the turret with them. But that's not over just yet. Aranea here being flashed onto by Ocelot, and there's a kill back.
Well played by Ocelot to instantly react as soon as he got vision on Aranea, but because of the numbers advantage, Alternate should be able to pick up this dragon. I think this may have been the original objective, and they just went, hey, we got a minute and a half to kill. Instead of passively sitting in the lanes, let's go pick a fight. Let's go challenge SK, and it worked out completely in their favor.
That is Dragon number 3 of the game for Alternate, as Candy Panda there just in the middle has to back away somewhat, but he's coming back in here with his stealth on. If they can get a knock-up, they may try and challenge. That doesn't happen though. It was a 3-on-2 in the end. They've just coming into the back to make it 3-on-3, but Alternate don't want to fight it.
Ocelot has been split pushing lanes this entire game. He was in the bottom lane for the last 10, 12 minutes. He's now roamed up to this top lane, stealing the golems away and basically trying to take control of the map through pushing the minion waves against Alternate's towers. The rest of SK have stacked up in the middle, but there's only 3, and they know Kevin's in the bottom lane. So if this Assault and Battery is available soon for Aranea, he may pick a fight.
First up is blue buff for Forellen Lord. He's now got that themed Unholy Grail added in there. Said Ocelot did decide to back away. A couple of other items have come in here. The Zhonya's Hourglass now finished for Kerp. There was a last Whisper picked up for Creaton. So, as you said earlier on, actually going for exactly the same build as we saw early on. And there's a red buff steal from Creaton, just as we're talking about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Creaton is back. There is simply no other way to put it. 4-0-3 with the broken wrist that he's unwrapped on camera. And he's playing perfect. He's using a build that has been trended away from as far as the rest of the LCS is concerned, but he's making it work for him. One of the items that was picked up is very important. Ocelot just got his last Whisper. And against double Zhonya's Hourglass, without the Deathmark damage, that's going to help him do the auto attacks and all of his other abilities to amplify the damage.
And at the same time, with the Zhonya's Hourglass, doesn't make the slightest of difference. So it's going to be about targeting here. Ocelot has to hit the right man as Forellen Lord. Gonna get hooked there by Nif, and here is Ocelot coming in on towards Kerp. He's gonna Zhonya's up as Aranea comes around the side, and Kerp, he's managed to get away up until now. Ocelot gonna jump towards him. Kerp speeds up to escape, but Aranea with the red buff on gonna be sticking to him. Forellen Lord though comes around the side, picks that one up, and now Creaton, the one that's in a lot of trouble. Is he gonna get shut down? He might get a kill to go with it, but he does get finished off there. That's a nice shutdown for Hercubot.
So well played. A lot of gold that goes into Hercubot's back pocket. It probably could have been better going to the likes of Candy Panda. They've gone for Forellen Lord.
There's a box going down. Tidal Wave coming in as well. The Shockwave, though, going to rip through Nif. He's a dead man here. Kerp comes with the teleport to pick that one up. And that will be another turnaround. These fights been very back and forth.
Overconfidence there from SK Gaming. That was a support and a jungler picking a fight with a mid laner. Forellen Lord, he had his Ignite available, he had his ultimate available, and it's not something they should have done. Because of those kills, Alternate now have a numbers and positional advantage in the top lane, and this is going to be the 5th tower of the game in favor of Alternate.
Well, Kevin had to come onto this one, but honestly, Equalizer's probably the best he could manage, but that's on cooldown right now. Won't make a difference as Aranea starts walking towards him. Dashes back off though, and Alternate gonna be happy with the turret pickup, and they'll just go back home. That's turret number 5, as you said, for them. Right now, they have a healthy gold lead. We're not yet 30 minutes into this game, let's not forget.
And you've seen as they were retreating away, one of the things that is very powerful about Karma's kit is the ability to have that mini Shurelya's Reverie. You pop your mantra stacks and then use the E, which bumps it up. I think it's like Defiant or something like that. Gives you the movement speed buff for your entire team as well as a shield. And as long as Kerp is very smart about how and where he uses that, Alternate should technically never be caught out. There's no crescendo to lock them up. There's no super hard CC that can hold them in place.
There's Aranea, flashy as ever, going back. How fitting that he'd have a recall sound. If he could recall in real life, it would definitely be incredibly loud so that the whole town could hear, I'm sure. Right now, he's justifying it as well. 2-1-6, as he said, done so very well with this Vi in the games that he's been playing her with in the recent past. Right now, Jerry again with the Oracle on up by the Baron, and there you see the slightly changed view range as he goes up there and didn't spot the ward.
Yeah, it is a smaller radius, so you need to get a little bit closer to those wards to clear them out. Jerry also maybe not using attack moves in that one also could be a factor to play in it. He's had that Oracles for probably about 10 or 12 minutes now, actually. That should be the third of the game, if I'm not mistaken. And it's something that he's been doing very well. They've completely controlled the bottom half of the map as far as vision is concerned. And every time Jerry does clear those wards out, you go, no attack move, finally uses it. And it's just playing into Alternate's favor. Now they're going to start baiting for Baron. Because Jerry's clearing the wards out, so it's just saying to SK, we might be doing it. It's up to you to come check.
I saw Runic Bulwark being picked up there, which may have confused a few of you because obviously it has been removed from the game in 3.10 as Ocelot here going to get caught in the assault and battery. Forellenlord going to take a lot of damage, but he's got Zhonya's. He's trying to use that just for the escape purpose as Forellenlord goes away. Shockwave gets 2 of them. Ocelot still alive here somehow as Aranea and Kerp both joining the fight from the side now. Kerp going to be picking one up. Actually, it's Aranea that gets it in the end, but Kerp is still going here. Going to get thrashed back there, but they're on top of Candy Panda. There's a there's an Oracle. You can't go invisible from J-Ree, and that will be 2 kills picked up, but nothing for Alternate.
I have no idea what Candy Panda was thinking during that one. He got caught out a little bit and thought, well, maybe I'll take him on a walk. I'll stealth up and run past, see the Oracles and went, oh, damn it, got dropped down. So Alternate, the numbers advantage, they're going to pick up their first Baron of the game, and we'll see how quickly they can close this out. Alternate team not just sit on their laurels when they have that Baron, but they do like to pick fights and chase in. As you can see, they want to catch Kevin.
Yeah, just sped up there by Kerp, all moving in as a unit, and Kevin, luckily for him, had already backed away. There's a blue buff stolen away, and you can feel it, you can see it slowly but surely. Alternate strangling SK out of this one. Ocelot, he's trying his hardest here. He's tried so hard throughout these last, let's say 15-20 minutes maybe, not quite that long, but he's done a lot of split pushing. He's been in this bottom lane, in the top lane, almost exclusively. The problem with that is that Alternate right now with Baron on can dictate what they do with the game, and Ocelot really is only there to stop them, to slow them down from any kind of push and say you have to come and at least push your waves back.
SK have not made a play on their terms since Dragon, and that backfired. They have tried to pick fights after they've lost fights. So there's been stragglers that have said, hey, we can kill somebody because they're a little low, and that's backfired for them as well. Ocelot has just started to recall as the rest of Alternate sneak all the way past him. Another Dragon's going to go their way, and SK, if they don't make a pick with the Zed Jarvan combo very early on, they're just going to continue losing team fights until Alternate are knocking on the inhibitor base.
Well, we see Morella Nomicon now added in there as well for Kerp, so he's going to be enjoying that one. AP cooldown reduction coming in as well, constant damage, and I think we underestimate sometimes how much that Karma can actually do in terms of damage coming in there, as we see Alternate here closing in on towards that inhibitory.
Well, they are bashing away on that one. You can see that all of SK are around. Arenea's managed to catch a Hercubot, a good equalizer, but there's no CC to hold anyone in place.
Problem is, it didn't equalize anything from that one, as we are going to see Zhonya's being used here. Ocelot goes in, Shockwave will explode one. Ocelot is going to go down as he jumps in the middle of the pack as well. There's a Cataclysm coming out, and Alternate quite low from this, but they've got more damage than SK, and they're going to keep keep pushing through. Nif gets finished off there. Kevin did get one on his way out, but it is just his way out. Alternate gonna get the in him.
Look at the HP bars. If the equalizer had gone down while Cataclysm locked up members of Alternate, that fight could have been the complete reversal. Instead, 4 members of SK are down, 20 seconds on the clock, and Alternate have enough damage to finish this one out.
Well, they're going to try for it. At least they've not got many minions in there with them. Kevin, of course, is still alive as he tries to poke back there with the Flame Spitter, but they're going to lose the first Nexus turret. Can Kevin hold on to the second one? Aranea finished off by the Nexus turret there. And he's doing a great job here, Kevin, of actually holding this one out. And he may have saved the game here for SK, at least for now.
Kevin doing to Alternate what he couldn't do to Fnatic all those months ago. Defending, equalizes down, he's going to carry on chasing his Kerp, flashes to safety.
That was a bit harsh.
Felt a bit traumatic.
He's playing though, so he can't hear you. I suppose that's one. And he's not playing Olaf today, so his Rumble coming out stronger for him on that front. So, 18-8 in the kills. There's an interesting stat for you as well. Jerry, the #1 in assists in the EU LCS at 207 assists throughout things. He got 16 this game to add into the total.
Very, very high number, and Jerry's just been super influential in every single game, regardless of who his AD carry has been. He's played with Creatine and White Knight throughout the split, and his performances have always been phenomenal. He doesn't seem to be caught out. He doesn't seem to pick poor engagements, and it's just a great positional play from him in all of his games.
Kevin here. Now got a little less pressure on him in this top lane. Well, get rid of that wave, but no, Baron is still there. It's not got too much time. In fact, it's going to time out any second, as I mentioned that one. So that one's going to be coming back into play in just a little while, and we'll see if Alternate actually decide to wait for that one to actually come in. You can see that Aranea's build here, complete support in terms of the jungle. Got that Locket of the Iron Solari in there with the Runic Bulwark as well.
The one thing that I really like about the itemization here, going back to Jerry, is he's actually picked up that Mikhail's Crucible. So if anybody does take damage, you've got the heal on there. You can heal up any of the CC that comes down, you know, slows and things like that, and just allows Creatine or Forellenlord just some extra time in his team fights. Forellenlord's got his GA, so even if he dies, he'll come back to life. Kevin and Candy Panda cannot defend against 5.
Now, and there we see the poke coming out of Creatine. Got the Iceborne Gauntlets in there once again as the box goes down. They're going to go in. Creatine going to be the focus. The equalizer good this time, and Creatine has gone down from it. There's a kill back though. Ocelot still chasing on towards Forellenlord, who's going to go low, but it's going to in the end stay alive from this one. Obviously, he does have that GA on now as well as the Zhonya's Hourglass. Now they start to turn it around. Kevin, the first target, gets pulled away, but that won't be enough for him. SK on the back for Alternate should at least get a turret here.
That was the team fight and coordination SK needed 20 minutes ago. They needed to land the Cataclysm and Equalizer together for their last 2 or 3 fights, and it did work in their favor a little bit, but unfortunately, on the retreat, Alternate had too much damage to deal with.
And that's the thing for Ellenlord. Zhonya's not used there. GA not popped there. He's coming up twice in this one, and he's going to cause you problems time and time again now with that Rabadon's Death Cap added in as well to the items that we mentioned a little bit earlier on. And Alternate, as you said, they lost their AD carry, the big man in there. They started to back away, but they realized once SK have got those ultimates down, they can actually turn around and face them, you know, in that 4 versus 5 even scenario that we just had.
There's very good communication from Alternate. They were attacking and focusing down Kevin first. They needed to get rid of his AoE, get that Flame Spitter damage away from them. And as Kevin went lower and lower, the rest of SK were forced to retreat. Ocelot as well as Hercubon are now getting some vision. He may be able to jump on Forellenlord. Not going to get his shadow up in time. Oh, the knocker!
He gets in there, actually, but Forellenlord, as we said, GA plus the Zhonya's as he uses a shockwave onto them there. He doesn't want to be using that Zhonya's just yet. And look at this, they're going to try and turn it around. Ocelot puts the death mark down. Forellenlord just Zhonya straight through that one. And here's Kirk going charging forward. Let's see if he can lock down Ocelot. There is the stun, but Hercubot comes back in. There's the equalizer. Now Creatine headed in from the side, but they need to be careful. There we see the Cataclysm coming down. Creatine going very low, but he's still somehow alive in that one. Still doing damage. Aranea in there as well. And this has turned out to be a massively long fight. Aranea gets command protect on him, dashes away, but Nif's there at the front with a flame. play as well. He's not escaping that one. Candy Panda gets the kill.
SK Gaming should be able to pick up Baron here if they manage to stay alive. There's a lot of pressure on Kerp to zone them out and try to keep them out of this pit. The question is, are they going to be brave enough to do it? Probably not, because there's super minions in their base, so it's a very risky prospect for them.
And Kevin, poor soul, he's the one that's charged with going back there once again to get that one done. And while they can't do this Baron right now, Alternate are still actually waiting around there, so they're biding the time until SK push away, defend up on that base, and then may just decide to go in for it anyway once the two come back up.
Alternate completely realized the threat of Baron, which is why the three of them stuck around for so long. Inhibitors just respawned for SK, so if that fight had happened like 30 seconds later, like now, they would have been able to challenge and would have had super minions on their inhibitor. You can see pings on Baron. And it all started from Ferelino being a little bit caught out. He actually Zhonya's before the Deathmark damage hit, came out of it and still took the damage. But because he's got so much armor, it wasn't all that effective.
Well, we can see that a second Locket of the Iron Solari has been bought here for Alternate now. Obviously on the support J-Re along with his Mikhail's Crucible. Other things that just were bought, a Void Staff coming down for Ferelin.
I don't think he's got enough damage right now. That Orianna 598 ability power has hit the 6 items mark, so we'll only really be looking to pick up those consumable elixirs with the rest of the gold, and we'll see how effective his shockwaves can be. If anybody can change a game with a shockwave, it's going to be Ferelin that can do it.
Yeah, and I'm going to avoid calling them what they were called by everyone in the world earlier on when, of course, Alternate picked up the spot here in the Summer LCS, but, well, he is pretty much a master with Orianna. We know that one, but we also know that a missed shockwave can end up costing teams games, so we'll have to see how that one goes.
Sure.
Well, it's not a mare wave anymore. Even if it hits the ground, it still sends terrible shockwaves throughout the rest of the team and at least forces them out of position. But RNA there getting a little bit forward, trying to move on and cause SK to get out of position to pick one off there. And just one man would probably mean the complete house of cards fall into the ground here from SK's point of view. So they need to be real careful about who goes in and at what time.
Pay very careful attention to the Cataclysm and Equalizer. They need to be perfect here for SK Gaming. If they are not, then it means Alternate will just continually pick up teamfight wins like they have already been doing. There's been little pokes into this inhibitor, but Creatine hasn't actually been brave enough to right-click on the objective. He's just trying to zone control with those mystic shots.
And doing a fantastic job of it as well. Now that inhibitor completely open for the taking. SK trying to poke in with as much damage as they can offer up, but honestly, never going to be able to stop that airstream getting in there and really finishing that one off as Nifia. Gonna take another blast coming out of Kerp's Karma, and now they want to push that bottom wave out.
I think that was a smart call from SK. They realized that unless they actually trapped everybody from Alternate in place, along with the shield from Karma, the shield from the Lockets, it was going to be a difficult fight to win. Now, RNA showed in the bottom lane, this could be the go signal for SK.
Oh, Hercubot, though, you see there sliding in, trying to get the knockup, trying to get into range to start something nice for SK, but in return, he takes pretty much half of his health straight back, and now Alternate are looking to move towards Baron again.
And while on the retreat, I just take a look at Creatine's items. I'm not sure if he's forgotten he's an AD carry or if he thinks he's a jungler, because he's picked himself up a Spirit of the Ancient Golem as well.
It's blue, that's the key point.
That's the key point, all right. So it's just the blue items, and we'll see how well it works. They've caught Nymph Ocelot!
Oh, well, they're both going to be pretty much dead here. We see the GA coming out, bubble a little bit too early as the Deathmark comes onto Creatine. Actually could end up being in trouble from this one. Equalizer going down. Creatine stuck in there and actually will be finished up there by the Equalizer. Not all bad up until now for SK, but look at Candy Panda. He goes down. Kevin trying to get on Ocelot. The shield just too much for him there. That GA still alive for him. Hercubot and Ocelot have both come back home, but there's 4 men still alive for Alternate to push.
This is going to be a difficult team to defend against. There is no Deathmark available, and while Zed's going to have some wave clear, there's no towers to defend. So Alternate are just going to be bashing away. Can Ocelot and Hercubot do this? It's a tough ask. I don't think they can.
I don't think so either. It's going down very, very quickly. RNA is going to flash for the style points, and Alternate going to pick up the win here against SK Gaming. It means probably more to anyone, whatever. RNA, a former SK team member, it means more to him than probably anyone. There we go, I finally got it out after that. And that leaves, of course, Alternate out 2-1 up against SK in the head-to-head series.
And as if SK do start to string some wins together and climb themselves back up this ladder, if they end up tied with anybody up top, it's going to be those head-to-heads that count, those head-to-heads that matter. And these two teams will only play each other one last time in Super Week in 2 weeks' time. René and Ocelot, a tense moment, to say the least.
Well, I think we can say that, you know, the best of friends, when they play each other on opposite teams, it can end up like that either way. So, now a very high, tense game. There's no doubt about that one. It started off, honestly, really nicely for SK, managing to pick up those couple of kills at the start, as Creaton now going to bandage himself back up and hope that he's all good for the next game.
I'm sure this can't be recommended by doctors. This seems, we'll have to see, but well played, Creaton. 6-4-9 in his first game back after breaking a finger. Good play from Alton. I think for the most part, the decision-making was spot on. They engaged when they needed to, they landed the abilities and they needed to. With the exception of Creaton being caught there, I think they missed a bubble, a mystic shot, but I'm being overly critical here.
I mean, he got caught out a couple of times, which contributed to those 4 deaths at the end. So now we'll not take too much away from him. We've just seen him there. He is still in the midst of recovery. And as you said, I'm not sure if that's doctor's approval he's got for that one, for taking off that just before. But I suppose if your doctor's RNA, what are you going to do about it? Not the most qualified man in the world. Of course you can play, Creaton. We need you back. So get in there, take your bandage off, and stop being
the important thing to highlight about that, 9-4 while they were playing with Creaton and a sub for Forellenlord 1 week, and then they went 2-5. The first game back with Creaton, they picked up a victory. Every other team will be looking at that going, damn, like he's back now, and they need to start figuring out ways to deal with him. Without playing for 3 weeks, he's still the second most kills in the league. And that is phenomenal.
Well, it's scary. That's the real point about, you know, psychologically, especially if you're a bot lane and you're like, I think we're going to lane switch this time, guys. Don't want to go up against Creaton, and then the top lane is like, hang on a minute, how do I get that one? So yeah, that's the real problem that I think a lot of teams are going to have against Alternate. It's not a one-man show, though. We should really, you know, for as much as we bang on about how amazing Creaton is, because, you know, quite frankly, he is amazing, it is a 5 versus 5 game here. And, you know, one mistake, we saw it there in the end, those fights weren't super clear-cut when Creaton actually went down in them. So who knows, if that game would have been just that tiny bit closer, SK might have been able to actually do something with catching out Creaton.
I think if SK's communication had a little bit more focus to it in the first 25 minutes of the game, and they had comboed their Jarvan and their Rumble damage a little more effectively, that could have been the time that Ocelot needed to pick up the kills and clean up the fights. Because we've seen a lot of times that Equalizer went down, and then 20 seconds later Cataclysm went down. It wasn't stacked on top of one another effectively enough.
Well, fantastic pick up there for Alternate on Creaton's return. Let's head over to the analyst desk here, where Demon and Jason are waiting with Crepo for their take on the game.
Thank you very much, Joe and Trevor, and what a fantastic game there. And Alternate, they did it, and we were just talking about back there, we don't know if that's good or bad for you, Crepo.
I don't know whether we have to look behind us or look ahead of us, but I guess it's good that we're getting closer to a guaranteed 6th, although nothing is sure, but the bigger the gap gets for us, the better, I guess.
So let's start off talking about this game. Let's talk about the early game to begin with, the choices that they made in the lanes, the duo lanes.
Yeah, we basically had a game with 2v1 lanes. I think SK won out because they stayed at the bottom side. They forced Alternate to switch their 2v1 to the top side. The possible advantage you get from that is Dragon, and they did that. Like, they pushed the tower down at the same time. Then they went for instant Drake, level 4 or 5, really early Drake, really well played by SK. That allowed them to shift all their like players towards the top side of the map to get the second turret there. They no longer had to fear the Drake being taken, and they pushed everything on that top lane tower. Like, remember, also camping there for a while, everybody coming in, and then a little later they actually got the tower and still got that wombo combo off on the top lane.
And so it started off so well, and between the two of you, let's talk about where it went wrong here.
Yeah, first, like, we have to point out, like, what both teams do. Like, SK is really good at those concentrated team fights where they go in and they literally wombo combo. They trap people in the Jarvan ulti, put an equalizer on top of it. Zed jumps in, like, AoE damage, blows one guy up, fresh with a lot of CC, and meanwhile in the back, Twitch, spray and pray constantly. Compared to that to Alternate, a little more mobile. They have the Karma pick coming in with a lot of mobility, like soft CC, but nothing really hard. A lot of poke from Orianna and Ezreal, so they want to, like, stand back in the fight, turn it around when they can, go for like the little side skirmishes with Vi picking one guy off, but they don't want a straight team fight. And where it went wrong is later when SK was feeling a little too powerful. They just had a really good fight at the top, but Rumble ulti was still on cooldown, I believe, and then they went for Drake.
And there's one thing actually about Alternate's composition that I really liked that I don't think we really even talked about too much was the fact that they had those double shields. So if Zed ultimate went on to anyone, pop the double shields on them, even if they don't have a Zonas, even if they don't have a GA, they're most likely not going to die, and that was really powerful as you saw the game
Yeah,
went
that's a
on.
really good point. If you combine that with Nami actually having a lot of disengage with her wave and her bubble to prevent the follow-up, and then also allowing Orianna ulti to as a disengage as well, it actually makes a really, really solid combo. They could still get AoE ultied, but it would mean that SK would have to nail every ulti together, and Alternate would have had to add 0 flashes.
Okay,
So, yeah.
well, and speaking of where the game kind of went wrong for SK, we have a replay to show you. If we can get that on your screen, you can kind of walk us through it, Crepo, exactly what you saw and what really set up that entire fight.
I think really important what we have to point out now is that SK was actually ahead at this point. So they caught Alternate going for Drake after they won a decisive fight on top lane. I think they made a little mistake contesting this Drake. If you look at the gold, it's 16,000 gold for SK, 12.7 for Alternate. They could have easily just let this dragon and pushed another tower later, waited for all their ultis to come up. And when you have those 5 ultis up, you can win another straight team fight. However, they felt like they didn't want to let Alternate get back in the game, but that's exactly what they did. You have also a Nif approaching from the bottom. You have Candy Panda approaching from the left side, but other than that, Jarvan's not there, Rumble's not there, and even if he is, he doesn't have ulti. And they think it's 4v5 possibly, but I think they forgot about the Karma TP.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start this replay up and just show you exactly how this fight really develops. And Crepo, obviously, you're just going to walk us through it. Oh, that is the wrong button. Sorry about that.
And we're going to go softly back. Yeah. Good engage by Fresh, hooks one box, good E, but a good disengage from Cretan. Lines up his ulti together with the Orianna ulti. RNA comes in, sinks to AoE as well, and that's basically the fight's lost here already. Karma's gonna TP behind Candy, so he can't be offensive anymore. He'll probably get caught as well. And the game's over. There was no equalizer. Really good turn here though. This is what the one-more combo almost looks like. Jarvan ulti plus Twitch ulti, but no equalizer. So it's too little to win the fight. Like they couldn't turn it around. They tried. Later in the game you saw them as well. They kept trying and trying to turn it around, but Alternate just wins this fight because of the lack of cooldowns on SK's part.
Yeah, and, you know, we were talking about this earlier, like the part of it in terms of for SK where it went wrong. If they had that Rumble ultimate up, do you think the game would have went completely different?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not super likely. You can never look in the future, but a Rumble ulti combined with a Jarvan ulti there would have definitely made a big difference. You saw how low they were. It would have meant the difference between 2 more auto attacks or running for your life, and at least made a little even trade.
And you saw it around about the 35-minute mark when they finally landed that wombo combo. We thought the game was effectively over.
And it
they
almost
did land it down that bottom lane, and then it almost turned around.
But it was too little too late. But it did show like how powerful that combo is, even when behind. But at that point, Alternate had such good control of the game already. They kept catching SK left and right, on the top lane, on the bot lane, always surviving, except when they got a little too cocky. But they still had their GAs, their double shields. And yeah, Alternate had the pace of the game in their control at that point.
And is that simply obviously a team choice when coming into this matchup, saying we're gonna go for this combo, and this combo, if it doesn't work, basically we're screwed? Or do we go for a team comp that's a little bit more safer?
It's an approach. Either you go for full-on team fight, either you go for some split push, either you go for skirmishes, either you go for early game, for late game. I think both compositions made sense. I would have liked to play SK's comp because I like the hard team fight aspect. I think SK played really well, except for just, I think they forgot that Orianna TP, Alden Drake, the Karma TP rather.
Yeah.
And just the Rumble ulti. I mean, if they had Rumble ulti, that would have looked so different.
Well, let's hear from the guys themselves. We're going to go over to Shox. He's with the man that you saw take his cast off on air. It's a little bit of gamemanship there, though. It was great on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, about that cast, we saw you putting it on the bandages after the game immediately. So after your first game, back in the scene, back on the stage, how much trouble do you have with that hand as it is? Does it hurt when you play too long, or?
Well, at the beginning, when I took the cast off for the first time, it was really painful to play, but now I think I get used to it, and I have to put it on because doctor said I can play, but I have to be careful about my hand. If like someone touch it or something, it's gonna be dead forever, so I would prefer not to risk.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, back in your first game here, immediately with a victory, and you played very well. Tell me about the picks and bans. First off, a Karma in the top lane. We saw it, of course, last week in the jungle. How did it work out in the top lane for you guys?
Well, Karma is really annoying, and she gives the team like epic mobility and also shield, so it's a really good pick versus Zed, and we pick her because of Zed mainly.
And then on the other side, we saw Ocelot playing an assassin in the form of Zed, something he doesn't do that often. They did give you a lot of trouble.
Actually, after the Drake fight, he couldn't do anything because we all were fed. He couldn't like 1v1 Oriana, 1v1 me, so he didn't cause any troubles for us.
Yeah, about that Drake fight, SK first built up an early advantage. Did you expect that they would come out swinging and put a lot of pressure on you guys in the first minutes of the fight and of the game?
SK is known for doing that, for early pressure, so we knew that, of course. We knew that they're going to invade and try stuff like this, and we try to predict where they go. At level 1, we didn't really predict it, but it went pretty fine for us anyways.
So give me then that dragon fight from your perspective. Was it them that just stayed too long, or did you just pull off the perfect engage?
For me, they just engaged too early with Thresh because Jarvan and Rumble they were real far away. So I think it was a misplay, maybe miscommunication. I don't really know, can't say. But for me, they engaged too early.
Now, of course, it's your first week back here, and it's an incredibly important week. Well, all games are now incredibly important. And last week, Alternate fell out of the top 1 for the first time. Do you see a large difference after when you went and now that you are back? That there's like that there's more pressure in the team, that you're practicing even harder. Do you sense a lot of difference?
For me, it's the same. I just came here to play the game. I'm going to play 2 games today, then go to hotel, and tomorrow 1 game. It's like perfect. 1 game per day is not a big deal.
All right, well, take care of that hand.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, the new pack leaders, Lemon Dogs, defend their position against Meet Your Makers, who are looking to beat them for the 3rd time in a row. Don't go anywhere.